Okay, I believe this is going to be probably God 3. You know, I was having this, right now, let me tell you, it's probably around 1 o'clock in the morning, or maybe later. I was having a conversation with my son, driving him to pick up his bike. And we're having this deep conversation. And we're talking about, we didn't really talk about anything specific, but more about, I'm the one that restarted. Because I know I've disappointed my kids in a lot of things. So we're talking about some of the pain that he has. You know, like one day when he gets married, he has kids, he wants me to be a part of his kids, which I was their grandfather. But he's going through certain anger, not only towards me, but also towards his mom. You know, I mean, we're not perfect. And I told him that when he has kids, he's going to have issues too. But we're just talking about it. And yes, I know I should have been a better father. But no matter what, I will never know what he's feeling inside because I'm not him. I can assume, I can guess, I can whatever, but do I really understand it? No. So that's the reason I'm going to talk about God. Everybody has this notion that God knows everything. Yeah, you know everything, but I really don't believe he does. I don't think you really understand the pain that we go through. Everybody could say, well, yes, plans, big plans. Who cares? As a father, I have plans for my kids too. I hope the happiness, I hope that everything works out, that life is great. But do I actually really understand what they're going through? As parents, we're always going to say, yes, we do. No, we don't. We assume, we guess. And then let's use parents that their children commit suicide. Oh, I never knew. A lot of these things happen. We always assume that we think we know how the other person thinks. Even if the person talks to you and talks about the pain, you can act like that you have sympathy. You know, you are going to be very caring. I'm not saying you're going to fake it. You're really going to be concerned, but you'll never really understand. You're only going to be comforting them. So that's the point where I want to talk about those who believe in God. You assume God understands how you feel. Even God, I don't care how optimistic he is, how he knows everything. No, I don't believe does. Can assume because he created us, made us, could be inside of us, but he's not human. You have to understand, to be human is being human. That's why I'm going to talk now more religious. When created us, which would made us different from any creatures, from the angels, from anything else, besides having free will, that we would be different from anything. And he studies us to understand us, but it's not us. Even though time doesn't exist, means that he's in the beginning, the end, whatever you want to call it. No, it doesn't. You can pray all you want and ask for all you want. If it's not part of his or hers, or whatever you want to call him, he, divine plan, it doesn't matter what your prayer is. Because everything is already set up how God wants it to be. For everything to happen, it's like a puzzle. Not even a puzzle. It's more like playing chess. You already know each move has to be done, and you have to make sure that each move is done a certain way. Why is it that some people get miracle where their children get saved and another one they don't? Why is it that people in certain places are starving and then others are not? Because everything is like a chess that's put in place. So going back to it, you're going to argue all you want. I don't care who you are, especially religious. Of course, an atheist can say, it's not going to say the same thing, because they don't believe in God or whatever. But no, God has no clue what we're really going through. Because for God, they're like, don't worry, in the end, everything will be okay. And you can be in your dying breath, last moment, and then it's all gone. Of course, then you don't care because you're already dead. No. That's what I was thinking. And maybe just all the sign that God gives me is my son is going through pain, so my daughter is, so whatever. but not going to pain where they're not going to be okay. Like we talked about, they are going to be okay. He talked about where, because a couple of weeks ago, my son and my daughter all went away camping together, and they really had deep conversation. The worries, their, what teenagers are going through stretch nowadays. And but one thing is, they're great kids, and they know that. But they have issues. They have problems, and a lot of parents are afraid to talk about a lot. This is like embarrassing for me to talk about, but I have to talk about it. They're going through pains. It doesn't mean they're not going to survive it. It doesn't mean they're not going to be better. I know they will, just like my son says. But, and my son didn't have to tell me he was in pain. I just know it, because I can hear from his voice the anger he has inside of him. He's angry at me, he's angry at his mom, he's angry at the world. He's just angry in general, but he controls it. Like he was telling me, now every morning he wakes up early, a couple hours early, and he just wakes up angry, and he has to go for a jog to get rid of all that anger. But at least he tells me, that's one thing I taught him, it was how to control his emotions, not to let his emotion overtake him. Like I always say, it's okay to have fear, it's okay to have anger, but you can't let anger control you. You have to control it. Then all of a sudden, I don't know why tonight, all of a sudden I started thinking about God. And I was thinking about, you know what? We are His children. But God really doesn't understand us. Whatever plan He has doesn't really matter. That's not the issue. Doesn't really understand us. Then you have those who are more into which I said in my other story, which they do the whole worship, the whole prayer thing. Be little sheeps. I'm not a sheep. And God knows that. I speak to Him enough, Him, her, that I'm not going to play that game of worshiping or whatever. If that's what I was created in, I'd rather not exist. But I've always existed. I've always existed. That's something people will never understand. But no, God does not understand what it is to be human. Not even close to understanding us. He can assume whatever, and you can say, well, he knows everything. No, you know what? I think people like to believe whatever they want to believe. Because He created us, it means He knows everything about us. No, not really. But God knows. He knows the beginning, He knows the end. But what we really go through, that's why He gave us free will. Or else it wouldn't be free will if He understood us perfectly. It would take off the whole free will completely away. If having free will is not that, it's also how we think and everything. Our thoughts, our feeling, those are all part of free will. And that's one thing. Because when He would make the actor of the time as a real father, my son was crying, and he, like I told him, he calls me, I'm there. I'll respond to him. God doesn't. A lot of you would say, oh, He does. Listen, I had my miracle. When I did that, when I went in prison so that I didn't commit, yes, you're going to think I'm nuts. God did communicate with me at that moment. But that's it. After that, when I need Him a lot of time, He hasn't communicated. Everything happens for a reason. It was to write my books. I just want to think, it's always for an agenda. Am I angry? Nah, not at all. But that was the whole thought. The whole point of this whole conversation was that how God doesn't really know us really. He knows what He wants, knows what the end result, what we need, but man will interpret it how they want it. Anyways, I guess that's all. It's going to be a short recording. What is it? Oh, not bad. It's 9 minutes. Actually, almost 10. So that's pretty longer than I thought it would be. Anyway, I love my kids. And Aaron, if I know something, you listen to my videos, but I love you. Girls, I love you too, Ariel, Layla. Anyways, that's it. Good night.